Hey, welcome to Film versus Movie, the podcast where we debate the cinema you hate. I'm your co-host, Belton DeLaine-Facey.
My name's Chris Shurr.
And on this podcast, we watch the films that have been slandered, desecrated, and convicted on all charges by public opinion. And one of us tells you why it's actually pretty good.
And the other one's going to tell you why it's a steaming pile of shit.
And if you like this show, be sure to like and follow us on whatever platform you use to watch or listen. And if you have a movie you think we should debate, the submission link is in the description and on our social bios. And today we are debating Gotti, the 2018 film starring John Travolta about the famed New York crime boss, John Gotti.
Did you know John Gotti was apparently a very boring guy? I don't even want to say this is Brooklyn or this is New York. Like, I could get killed. But did you know, according to this movie, he's a very boring fucking guy who doesn't accomplish much.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see the depiction of an infamous crime boss and give the vibe of like, oh yeah, this guy would overdose on a Baja Blast.
Yeah, he probably spilled a lot of soup on his shirt.
Getting into the plot. So this film is told somewhat non-linearly. It's
well, no, it is told fairly linearly. You get the cuts at the very end of his life, but like everything is linear other than that, but it's just poorly presented. Okay, sorry, I'll get into my critique later.
Yeah, the film starts in like the first scene takes place in 1999. Gotti's oldest son, who we'll just call Junior, they're both arrested in prison, and Junior's telling him he's considering taking a plea deal to just get back to his family quicker and escape the lifestyle. Then we go all the way back to 1973. Gotti takes an order to kill another gangster. He does it in the middle of a bar, and he's quickly ID'd for the murder and sent to jail for 4 years.
They didn't do a good job with this murder. I'm just like, they could have just walked in and had masks on and shot him in the back of the head. Boom, no jail time. They bought disguises to try and trick him into thinking he was a cop, thinking they were cops so they could drag him somewhere to murder him. But if they just put on a mask and shot him, no one would have known.
Yeah, because literally the way it's depicted, there's only one employee here, just one bartender. They do it in the middle. They leave the body in the bar.
She's calling 911, and then they're like, don't do that. And we were joking where we were kind of picturing this woman, and she comes in and open, and they're like, whoa, what's this? And she's like, that is the new permanent fixture of the bar. That is the floor body. It stays forever.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that body was here when I got here. I thought it was just new decor. So after he gets out of jail, he's a mafia captain. He sends his oldest son, Junior, to military school, but pretty soon after, Junior drops out and decides he wants to join the mob. In 1980, his 12-year-old middle son, Frank, is killed by a neighbor driving. Soon after that, the neighbor disappears, and there's no evidence on where he is.
Did they report that in the movie?
Yes.
Oh, I guess I stopped paying attention. I thought that they skipped over it because it's a pretty well-known thing that Gotti murdered the neighbor.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like everyone knows he did it, but they can't prove it. They say the guy just disappears in like one of the news cutaways. Yeah, because this film has like plenty of news cutaways on all the events happening. It has news cutaways and narration and times where he just talks to the camera. They have a lot of ways to just tell you information. All right, so then in 1985, the head of the Gambino crime family, which is the crime family guy works for, is dying of cancer. He tells him basically the next guy in line has plans to disband Guy's crew. So he organizes a hit to kill the successor, and he becomes the head of the crime family.
They didn't really touch into why that they made that guy the head of the crime family. Costello?
Yeah.
They did it because he was really he knew what he was doing with white collar crimes. And so he was like, that's the future of the family. That was the line of thinking behind having him be the head of the family.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is kind of weird to think of the mafia basically running themselves like a corporation. Like, oh, we gotta think about the future and innovate.
Oh my! Have you seen Fargo season 2? Or have you seen any of Fargo?
I haven't seen a TV show. I've seen the movie.
Oh, Belton. Oh, what are we even doing filming this podcast when we could be watching the first season of Fargo together? First season, this is unrelated. It's just Billy Bob Thornton. And if you like Landman, this is like really actually great. Like a great story, great acting. And then season 2 has a great like organized crime actually being organized sort of a thing going. All right, sorry.
All right. So now we're in 1987. Ever since becoming head of the crime family, Guy's just been escaping prosecution. He's been on trial 3 times, found not guilty all 3 times. The news has nicknamed him Teflon Don, which I point out should be Teflon John. Like, I understand he's the Don of the family, but still, it's right there.
Well, he's the Teflon Don. All the other Dons are going down.
Yeah, and so in the process, Junior becomes made in the crime family. Then 5 years later, Gotti is finally convicted for organizing the murder of the guy that was supposed to be the successor, and he's put away for life. Junior takes over until he's taken into custody, and then it cuts to the beginning where Junior's telling Gotti he's going to take a plea deal, leave the family. Then 2002, Gotti dies of cancer, and Junior is finally released in 2009 and escapes the mob lifestyle.
Then he made this movie. Yeah, they had to talk to him. I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. No, they did. Because actually, the first thing about this movie, in September 2010, the production company secured the life rights to Junior.
Oh, they didn't have the life rights to Gotti?
No, because here's the thing. Because Gotti has other children, I'm not sure if his widow was still alive at the time, but basically they would to get the life rights for Gotti, they would have had to consult like all his other children. But Junior can sign away his own life rights.
Oh. That's why it's like this?
Yeah. Which, for the record, you don't necessarily need someone's life rights to make a biopic about them. That just ensures you can't be sued. For this, the real life John Gotti Jr. could not sue production because he didn't like the way he was depicted.
You think he had issues with that haircut?
Let me pull up a picture of him. He might just have the same haircut.
Well, shit, I take it back. I'm sorry. I can't get webbed.
I mean, yeah. Looking at a picture of him, it's pretty close. Yeah, it's just that classic Italian American slick back hair.
All right, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so they got the life rights to Junior. Then this movie was in what's known as development hell. Well, before the final director came on, 3 directors had signed on and dropped the project. Those directors were Barry Levinson, who did Rain Man and Good Morning Vietnam, Nick Cassavetes, who did John Q in The Notebook, and Joe Johnson, who did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Jurassic Park 3.
Did they think they were signing on to a John Gotti movie, and then they're like, actually, we only have the life rights to John A. Gotti?
I mean, it's hard to tell exactly what happened behind the scenes here. All I know is John Travolta was involved very early on. He was like, I want to play Gotti, because there were also a number of actors who were at some point attached and dropped the project, including Al Pacino, Lindsay Lohan, and Ben Foster. And Joe Pesci actually gained weight for this movie. Joe Pesci was signed on to play Angelo Ruggiero, so he gained 30 pounds for the role in order to properly portray them. But then after loss of funding, they cut his salary in half, and he ended up suing production.
Okay. Did he win?
They settled it out of court. So
Okay.
I assume he got some money.
I would have put on 30 pounds just to, that'd be crazy. Changing your body that much for nothing is like nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I would have fucking lost my shit.
I can't even imagine gaining that much weight and then they cut my salary just walking into the meeting like that. Like,
It'd be like, could you imagine what was Christian Bale in The Machinist? What is the mechanic?
yeah, no, the machinist. You got
He just like walks in all skeleton like, and they're like, actually, we're only gonna pay you $10 in a ham sandwich. And he's like, oh, I could use a sandwich, but that's crazy, y'all.
So this was ultimately directed by Kevin Conley, who's much better known as an actor. He played Eric on Entourage.
Yep.
It was written by Lem Dobbs, who also wrote Dark City and Kafka. And it was also written by Leo Rossi, who only has 4 writing credits, including this movie. 2 of those movies have a lower IMDb rating than Gotti.
Oh God, name them. You got them.
The 2 movies he's done, he wrote the Unknown Trilogy, which according to IMDb is just a 26-minute short film. He also wrote We're Talking Serious Money, which is a feature film that's very low budget. He also starred in that one with Fran Drescher.
Huh.
And then the last movie that is called Mafioso, The Father, the Son.
Oh, that was the Gotti series.
According to this, it's a movie.
Oh, I thought it was a series.
It's about a different like mob boss.
Oh, okay.
That's his writing career. He also works much more as an actor.
I'm always curious, like, what they do after. I wish the IMDb would say, like, and now he is like a very successful car salesman.
Yeah, well, according to IMDb, he's still working as an actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just one of those guys that normally gets small roles.
Okay. Any that I'd know?
Nope.
All right.
He had a small role in Gotti.
Well, who was he in Gotti?
Bobby Borriello.
Is that Bobby the Bull?
I guess so. All right, that's the thing to me. In these like mafia mob movies, half the time, like the names just sound the same to me.
Yeah.
There's always a John. There's always a Bobby. There's like always a Ricky.
And they're all nicknamed.
Yeah, and then all their last names are just cartoonishly Italian.
I don't know if cartoonishly. There's no mobster named like Jimmy Pizza Pazza Pizza. There's no Anthony Nap. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. All right. And then as an extra fact for his movie, despite taking place almost entirely in New York, it was filmed mostly in Ohio.
Oh, that's not even like Vancouver.
Yeah. Like it was apparently done for tax purposes, but it's like I can't imagine how much the numbers add up on that.
I feel like you'd have to spend so much money to make Ohio look like New York.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I guess luckily John Gotti lived on Long Island, so it's like that's just a suburb, which Ohio has plenty
Do you
of.
think that's why they limited the amount of fourth wall break scenes they had? Because it required him to actually be standing there in front of the New York City. You think they did that in front of a green screen and just put the New York City skyline behind him?
Oh, I doubt that. Like, because also at night it would be much easier to get that shot.
Yeah.
So this was originally supposed to come out in December 2017. It was originally supposed to be released just limited theatrical run and straight to video on demand. But the producers decided they wanted to have a wide release. So they actually bought the rights back from the distributor and so that they could put it in theaters.
Did they buy it back for more than they sold it?
I did not see how much. I have to assume it was like the same price.
I would, if I were the distributor, I'd charge them more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or for a bit more.
Yeah, I'd charge a 30%. Do you guys know what you're doing fee?
Yeah, just an inconvenience fee.
Yeah,
and then somewhat famously in April 2018, MoviePass Ventures bought a stake in the film, which, if you're not familiar with MoviePass, being an adult that goes to the theaters from like late 2017 to summer 2018 was the golden time, because MoviePass was great, even though we all knew it was going to fail.
Marvel is having its run.
Oh yeah, because this was the year Infinity War came out, which MoviePass, this was on the tail end of its run, where it's just like they knew they were going down. This was like right before they started pulling all the sketchy shit with the accounts and wouldn't let people cancel their subscription.
Got it.
This was just an attempt to stay relevant. And with that, they were very much accused of having bots distort the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, because people notice a huge disparity on Rotten Tomatoes between the critic score and audience. And people notice there were a lot of 5-star reviews from accounts that were new, and their only other review was a movie called American Animals, which is the only other movie MoviePass invested in.
What, you're saying Melania is a bad movie, Belton? Just because it has 100% audience score and a 2% critics rating?
I mean, the thing is, I believe Melania, the 100% is real, because I don't think you go see that movie unless you are a professional movie critic or you have blind loyalty to the entire Trump family.
I don't think anyone actually saw it. I think that they just set up an AI bot to post comments and leave reviews, and that every ticket they've sold has been bought in bulk.
Definitely believe some people saw. I could see in like heavy Trump areas, people went to see it. I'm not sure if you saw someone screenshot a Craigslist posting where people were like, "Go see Melania, and I will give you $50."
The thing is, if you're a big Trump guy, that doesn't automatically mean you're a Melania person. Like, I'm not buying that even Trump supporters are like, we want to know what Melania is doing. Like, I'm not buying it even for a second. The only, Melania's parents probably didn't even go. And she made them US citizens. I bet you they did not go and see Melania. I don't think Trump went and saw Melania.
I believe someone told Trump he saw Melania. Gotti came out June 18th, 2018 on a budget of $10 million. It only made $6.4 million at the box office. It currently stands at 4.8 on IMDb. And for the Rotten Tomatoes scores, it sets a new film versus movie record at a whopping 0%.
Oh, I thought it had like a 60.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No,
well, it's really bad.
0%. It's one, only including movies with at least 20 critic reviews. It's one of 39 films on Rotten Tomatoes with a 0%.
Oh my God. I don't know if it was 0% bad. Like, that's what?
Like, it's hard to imagine a 0% movie.
Like, it wasn't good. I'm not even going to argue that. But like a 0% movie, there shouldn't even be film. Like, there should be multiple points where the cameraman's hand goes in front of the lens.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just imagine. It's like, you know how on commercials they'll be like, oh, 9 out of 10 dentists agree. It's just like, actually 10 out of 10 dentists hate this shit.
John Gotti Jr. didn't even vote. Like, oh my God.
I mean, these are just critics' reviews, and the thing is, like, with critics, they have to watch so many movies. Sometimes I feel like they'll give a bad movie a good review just because, like, I was watching so much slop. I was just in the right mood for this one. With this movie, it's like every single critic was like, "Yeah, this ruined my day."
Well, only $6 million worth of people actually went and saw it. So, like, I guess there weren't even that many people to review it in the first place. That's, oh my God.
Yeah. And then it earned 6 Razzie nominations, which those were all the categories it was eligible for.
Did John Travolta accept his award?
No, it didn't win a single Razzie. It was like, 6 nominations, went 0 for 6.
Couldn't even do that right. Right.
I don't know. It's like you go through this, like you might as well get like something out of it.
You think they were ever scared while they were making it, where they're like, "Oh God, this is so bad, we might get like whacked"? Like,
no, I think John Travolta genuinely thought he'd be in like awards contention with this, because especially since they bought back the rights so that they could put it in a wide release. You could tell everyone was just like, oh, this is going to eat so hard. We're all going to have great careers after this.
Oh, my God.
By the way, Victoria Gotti, John Gotti's wife, was played by Kelly Preston, John Travolta's real life wife. I imagine considering like they did go through so many like actors and in casting, that one it feels just like, all right, this is the only person he knows who'd be willing to do it.
I feel like she was actually pretty good in the role.
Yeah,
she did the best that she could with it.
Yeah, but I imagine the pitch for this movie was just very well, the pitch to her for this movie, which is very different than say John Krasinski pitching Emily Blunt on A Quiet Place. Well, now it's time for our opening statements. I will be defending the film, and Chris will be attacking.
The only thing Gotti succeeds in is making one of the big shot mafia dons look incompetent and boring. In fairness, it made everything look boring. It was just a boring, ramshackle movie that left me asking the question, so all of these guys are just losers, right?
Gotti gives us a unique view at the historic New York gangster, a view of a father from his son. The film greatly uses its erratic storytelling to depict a violent home environment and the impact it can have on someone growing up in it.
All right, just like going off of that, The Godfather and Goodfellas both made being a mobster look fun and exciting while also showing it's a bad life. Gotti just made it look mediocre. It made you ask, why wouldn't you just get a normal job?
Yeah, okay, I would also argue that, both Goodfellas and The Godfather, part of the story was like how, being in the mob led to everyone's downfall. Like Goodfellas specifically shows how like being in the mob, you can only do it with sort of like an addictive personality or a short wire. So I think in that, Gotti succeeds in not promoting mob culture.
No, it makes it look like anybody could be in the mob. Honestly. All right, look, let's just they made gambling look boring. They show him gambling twice. Apparently he was a big degenerate gambler. Where do they show him gambling? Inside of his bed with the covers on top of him, just whining about the football games. No, no slots, no sitting at a sports bar, just whoa, when these Redskins won't win. Also, he was the head of the betting operation. Who was he gambling with? Did he pay the money and then they just gave him back his cut?
I mean, also, that's what gambling looked like before sports apps. You only do it with the mob, and you're just sitting in front of the TV hoping the right guy makes a play.
Yeah, I don't know. At least show him win once. Yeah.
That's the thing. People who are good at gambling are usually forced to stop by the people they're gambling with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of this being from Junior's perspective, it does establish Junior's point of view very early on, with starting with the scene between him and Gotti, where he says I'm going to take the plea deal. it gives him like some conflict in that scene, and it also establishes, okay, we're gonna watch all the things that lead up to him coming to this conclusion.
Okay, yeah, but also the movie's called Gotti. So I imagine the movie was about John Gotti, not his random son.
Okay, well, that's a marketing thing.
You think it worked out in their favor? You thought that was a good thing that you saw none of John Gotti's origins?
I mean, you understand where he comes from, and it's like I honestly don't think we need an origin story for everything, especially now that we're in an era where like people want a redemption arc for everyone. It's like, no, you gotta understand, some people are bad. You don't need to believe that there's good. You just need to understand there's bad.
Does this movie make the point that John Gotti is bad?
Yes.
I don't think it does.
All he does is just kill people.
Yeah, but it doesn't really pitch it as that bad of a thing. It pitches it as though he's the victim when he's going to jail.
I wouldn't say it depicts it as he's a victim, because keeping it from like Junior's perspective, I understand like this was an environment that was normalized for him, and so when his dad goes to jail, that is something that impacts him. So yeah, for him, that is a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they just gas this dude up constantly. Except they don't make him look cool is like the issue. Like they gas up his whole life, and then he also still looks boring.
Yeah. Again, like for most people, their dad just doing regular stuff is just like, oh, that's what dad does. It doesn't make it exciting. Like, you ever hear stories of like rock stars and athletes talking about their kids? Their kids don't care that they're rock stars and athletes. You could tell your 6-year-old you just won MVP, and they'd be like, cool, when does Bluey come on?
Okay, but also, Belton, this movie's supposed to be about John Gotti Sr. That's what I wanted to watch. It is a fundamental flaw that you have to sell it. Oh no, you're missing the point of this movie called Gotti, starring John Travolta playing Gotti. No, it's not about John Gotti. It's about John Gotti's son and what he dealt with being John Gotti's son. That's why the movie is called John Gotti's Son. Oh wait, no, it's called Gotti.
Well, it's still about Gotti. It's just from a specific lens. Like I believe, like, if you were to ask his son about what his dad was like, this is how he would tell it.
Why does he have such an intense distrust against the government before he ever went to jail? What led him to get into a life of crime? When was the first time John Gotti killed someone? What was the first gang he joined? None of this stuff we know. That's important facets of John Gotti's life. And if you're going to call the movie Gotti, you got to show it. Just through and through, you have to show John Gotti's life.
Well, I don't think you need to show his whole life, because, I mean, there are biopics that go through, because well, actually, a good biopic knows to focus on, you know, the important moments, and I think you could argue that, you know, the moments they focus on are just like his rise in the ranks of the specifically the Gambino crime family, and the first thing it shows is like, all right, this is the hit that gets him into the family, and the movie from it does depict his beliefs. He grew up around mobsters. That's the life he knows. He doesn't trust cops because cops don't like mobsters. and oftentimes, especially with like older Italians, they didn't like immigrants. So yeah, there is a natural distrust of cops.
Okay. Yeah. I would have liked to have been shown all that rather than told it.
So is the issue that the movie just implied it, or like I feel like it's just trusting the audience to make connections?
I'm saying that if I had no clue who John Gotti was, and they drop us in the middle, and it feels like there's a lot of his life missing that explains why he ended up joining a life of crime. Like, I read a story about how he met his wife. There's like interesting shit in his life that they just completely glossed over. All because they couldn't actually get the life rights to his life. All they could get the life rights was to John A. Gotti, John Jr. And that's the biggest flaw of this movie, is that it's not actually a movie about Gotti. It's just using his name, but it's actually a movie about John Jr. And it is so unclear that that's what you're getting going into this movie. Even in the first 5 minutes, you get John Gotti talking about, this city made me who I am. But it's not about him. It's about John A. Jr. It's about John Gotti Jr.
So let me ask you this. If before watching a movie, you had no idea who John Gotti was, let's say you thought this movie was fictional, would that change your view as to like whether or not they depicted him as interesting?
No, it's still a boring movie. It's still just a boring movie. They barely showed how his mafia empire functioned. Like, they would give like brief rundowns and they'd like give little vague explainers, but there was no like deep dive into how the organization made money. No deep dive into like just what it was like, what the Gambino crime family was like.
I actually like that aspect. I like having a bit of mystery, and also kept it where it's like you just know they could be anywhere at any moment. Like we weren't so inside that there weren't surprises about it.
No, I wanted like it. The Gambino crime family was a huge crime family and very successful, but you wouldn't know it watching this movie. You'd think that they were like a bunch of asshats who couldn't get anything done and then made a bad pick for Don. Then that choice got killed. Then Gotti just came into power and did absolutely nothing but go to jail but go to trial. And then he just went to jail. And that's all they showed of Gotti, acting as Don. Remember that there's that part where he says to his son, he's like, oh, if I could just get a year uninterrupted. Like, yeah, you could actually, I don't know what you're actually doing. It seems like you've done absolutely nothing since you've become Don, other than immediately get put into court.
Well, yeah. I also imagine like the day-to-day runnings of the mafia are actually like much more boring than we expect.
But it's like interesting. No, it is interesting. Like, it's interesting. I want to hear how like, oh man, this guy who's got these associates working under him, you can't trust the associates, but one of them's doing like this entire organization was full of interesting characters. And I'm going to be honest, other than Gotti and Angelo, I don't really remember any of them. Benny the Bull, Angelo, and Gotti were the only 3 people that I could remember. And that like had any agency.
Yeah, I just feel like the more you learn about the mafia, the more it's going to sound like an office with a cubicle with a few more murders.
Yeah, but like, I want to see that. I want to see that, Belton. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy that I wanted the movie called Gotti to be centered around Gotti and not his relationship with his son.
Well, I do think it was very centered around Gotti, because I feel like through him, you do understand the world. The movie just doesn't like over explain things because
it does over explain some things. There is a lot of like exposition dumps. I can't remember them off the top of my head. If you're gonna break the fourth wall, you have to commit and do it well. You can't have a haphazard one fourth wall breaking at the beginning, one fourth wall breaking at the end.
I feel like that's just you know, sort of bookending things though, like the intro and the outro. Because it's not like they randomly did it throughout the middle.
No, I think they should have done it through especially with this many jumps through time and this many cuts between years. I think they really could have had something going.
Yeah, they had the narration, which you just said over-explained some things.
Yeah, well, it would have been better if you had John Travolta standing in front of the New York City night skyline. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like if you were to just randomly cut in between to that, then you have to be really decisive and deliberate about where you do that. And I think they were deliberate in not doing that. They were deliberate in just having at the beginning and the end, and then like, you know, the sandwich in the middle.
I think the issue, Belton, and you had it, is that in order to do something like that, you would have to be deliberate in your filmmaking rather than just haphazardly throwing random shit together. And that's like one of the big issues with this movie is it's all over the place. The cuts, I don't think it does it any favors.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it feels all over the place because it's a terrible environment. I think for a lot of people that grow up in environments like that, you do block stuff out. You're in the know for some things, but not the rest. Because I do think like as the movie went on and Junior got older and more involved, it depicts more and more. You start to understand it.
Was he involved all that much? Because the movie just made it seem like he slapped money in that guy's hand once. Then he got into a fight, and then Gotti was arrested the next day.
Well, yeah, he did things that impacted the mob, as opposed to say the first murder we see in the bar. Like, yeah, it seems sloppy. It's just based off of details he heard, and he was younger, so he may not remember everything. And then, you know, the hit on like who would have been the successor, that scene was a lot more detailed. You actually see the planning. It's much more precise execution because he's older. He understands what's going on. He understands more of why his dad is doing the things he does. And so we as the audience are just growing up with him and also getting more of an understanding.
Okay, yeah, but I think that's an inherently flawed perspective to take for a movie about Gotti. It's like if you're watching a movie about Osama bin Laden and you're like, it was shot from the perspective of the plane that hit the Twin Towers. So then as soon as the plane hits the Twin Towers, the movie just cuts. And you're like, oh, well, the plane was in action through the 90s during the World Trade Center bomber. And then the plane hit the building. So I understood what was going on, but it ignores the issue that if you're doing a movie about Osama bin Laden, I want to see a movie just about Osama bin Laden.
Well, I think the difference is that with movies, like especially biopics, you typically want to add more nuance as you go on and like get more detailed and precise to really like nail your themes and points. And I feel like this was just a unique way of doing that. As opposed to like your plane example, the plane doesn't learn more about Osama bin Laden.
All right, it wasn't a great example. Yeah. Too much Pitbull.
You know, I'll agree with that.
There's way too much Pitbull.
Yeah, there was a lot of Pitbull music, especially for a movie that mostly takes place in the 70s or 80s.
And they could have had like a lot of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. Also, for the record, Pitbull is credited as a music supervisor for this movie.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me.
Yeah,
No wonder it's got a lot of Pitbull songs in there.
Yeah, it's crazy because Pitbull to me is squarely Obama administration. Like maybe rope in 2007 in there, but like 2007 to 2016, that's Pitbull's era.
Pitbull's Latino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, or like not in an Italian American movie. It's just kind of a bizarre choice. It feels very out of place.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh, I didn't think Travolta was great either. I don't think he did a good job playing Gotti.
That was gonna be my first concession.
All right, let's lead us off, Belton.
All right, so now it's time for concessions. This is where I give 3 things I didn't like about the movie, and Chris gives 3 things she did like. So yeah, my first one is like acting, mainly John Travolta and the actor who played his son. I didn't like their performances that much. I know Kelly Preston was nominated for a Razzie. I think she just caught a stray with this movie on that one. But yeah, it's like, especially since the film is framed around what should be a very intense discussion between their characters, I would have liked to see a lot more.
It didn't make a Life of Crime look cool, which it's probably not the best message that it's dope as shit. I remember being a high schooler and seeing Goodfellas and thinking, wow, this life rocks. And then I watched it again as an adult and I'm like, oh, these were kind of pathetic people.
Yeah, especially since like John Gotti, like as the movie showed, was beloved by a lot of people. That said, the movie was not really structured well. A lot of the scenes don't really build on each other. It seems like we're watching a bunch of individual scenes of Frankenstein together, and then like it doesn't fully dedicate itself to a good medium of storytelling. It has narration, it has a framing of the discussion. Like at times it feels like it's in the vein of I, Tanya, where it's going a little wink wink nudge nudge to the audience. Like it, just pick a lane and dedicate yourself to it.
The ending showed viewers what RFK Jr. will look like when he dies. I'm happy I got to see that. I was like, oh shit, that's what it'll look like.
All right. My final concession. The film lacks a lot of nuance that should come with John Gotti, because like at the end of the film, it does show like, oh, a lot of people loved him. It would have been cool if it showed like throughout the film, it's like, oh, this is why a normal person who just lives in the area would love him and all that he does.
Yeah, that I agree. For an Italian crime movie, I don't think they called anyone faggot, which is pretty impressive. Like, yeah. Can you remember them calling any slurs?
No.
Yeah. So it's a win.
I'm literally imagining like at some point it was in the script and then someone thought about it. It's just like, wait, is anyone gay? And no one raised their hand. It's just like, all right, we can't get canceled.
All right, now time for our closing statements.
Yep, closing statements.
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. If this movie felt crazy, it's because John Gotti was one crazy motherfucker. This movie makes just as much sense as his real life. I give this film unlimited acquittals.
If John Gotti were brought back to life, he would be proud of his son for winning his trials. Then he would murder him for allowing this movie to get made. 1 out of 10 sweaty Italian sausage farts.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Film versus Movie. If you enjoy the show, give us a like and be sure to follow us. I'm Belton DeLaine-Facey.
I'm Chris Shurr.
And we will see you next time.
Thank you.